Hello, beautiful people. My name is Sydney Warren, and this is The Power of Us. Let's get into it. Now, Black people, it's time for us to wake up. Hello. Good morning. How are you? Did you get some good sleep? I know you're tired. Because this system, again, was designed to keep you tired, keep you complacent, so that way the people who benefit from this shit can continue to benefit from this shit, right? And we know that America was founded on making sure that white male landowners were the primary beneficiary of any, abundance and success, right? Even when that 3/5 of human type of thing. Now that is a thing that kind of got twisted around. What they did was, because the South wanted more power, okay, but obviously enslaved people were not considered people, okay, but they wanted their slaves to have they wanted their slaves to count as a vote for them, so that way they could win. So the South and North kind of went back and forth. So they came to an agreement that for every three Black people, every 3 enslaved person counted as one human being. So 1 vote. So every 3 Black people counts as 1 vote. Okay. So that's where the 3/5 of human comes from. Every 3 out of 5 people count as a vote for the South, and that's how they, blah, blah, blah. So then you have the Civil War. We know how that goes. 13th Amendment amends slavery. Okay, cool. That happened in early December 1865. Guess what was created in late December of 1865? The KKK. Dun, 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 dun. So right after slavery, a few weeks later, because I think it was December 6th of 1865, when slavery was officially ended, or they abolished it. And then late in December, in Tennessee, was the first KKK organization. Okay, now the KKK organization was used as a political tool. So they did a lot of threatening, a lot of violence, a lot of, we know the history, right? We know. So then later on, it was in 1877, that's when the 15th Amendment was created, where they said that Black men could now vote and they could not be denied based off of their race. Okay. So, you know what we did? We moved. We did our thing. We created our businesses. We created our education systems. We created our banks. We created our towns. We moved. We grew. We evolved. We got our congressional seats. This was all in the 1800s, guys. Okay, now, and I want you to look at the timeline, because it's really not a long time in the grand scheme of things in terms of where we are today and where we started. It's not a long time. Because keep in mind, the Civil Rights Act was only 60 years ago. 60 years! 60 years. If I'm not mistaken, hold on. So Okay, so you have a system where now black men can vote. But of course, there are stipulations. You have the poll tax. You have to pay to vote. Oh, you also have a literacy test, meaning that you have to answer these absurd constitutional questions as a black person. And they'll let the illiterate white people vote because they're white. So your vote counts for us. But if you're black, you gotta jump through all these loopholes. You know what I mean? They also have the grandfather clause, meaning that if your ancestor could vote before the Civil War, then you could vote. Obviously, that doesn't count for us because slavery was still going on. And then they also have the white primaries in a lot of these southern states where only whites could vote in the primaries. Okay. So the really important votes, only the white people could. You know what I mean? So this was that's when racism became legalized in a way. It started infiltrating its way into our systems and how it's run, right? Violence was a tool to use to keep people from voting, to keep people submissive to the idea that we are better than you and we're in charge of you and this is just what it is. We're not mad enough. And that is the design. And this is not just for us black people, it's for everyone who participates. That's the thing. Everyone participates in this. They depend on people being so tired, working paycheck to paycheck, paying these bills. And then hopefully one day you too will be able to become a millionaire and you'll have a streak of luck, and one day you will get the American dream of having the white picket fence, the family. You'll be able to travel, do all the things. You'll be able to do all the things. You just have to sacrifice yourself for it. Sacrifice your mental health. Sacrifice your physical health. Sacrifice. While a lot of, that's a different conversation. So then, got my notes here, y'all, because I gotta make sure that we are hitting each thing. So we have the Jim Crow era. We know how that go. Okay, and then we hit the Great Migration. Okay, that's when black people, we as a whole, we start moving from the South to Chicago. That's where my grandmama and my grandfather came in, because both my grandparents on both my mama and my daddy's side fought in World War II. My grandmother came from Louisiana, came here to Chicago. And my grandfather on my mom's side moved from Arkansas to Chicago. So this is just examples of the Great Migration, right? People moving from these southern leaning states, moving to more north Midwest states to get better opportunity, better jobs, get more political pull. Because again, we are depending on a system that is run by people who do not care about anybody but themselves. Hello? Like, so then we have that, right? We migrate to the, Midwest. We doing our thing. And then so that's from 1900 to 1949. So what is this, like 5 years later, the civil rights movement starts. That's in 1954. Okay, that's when you get our Martin Luther Kings, our Louis, I'm sorry, Miss Hammer. I'm forgetting her name. Oh, my bad. You're getting our Fred Hamptons. You're getting our Malcolm X's. You're getting our what's that man's name? John Lewis. Good Trouble. You know what I mean? We are, again, children of resistance. Remember who you are, okay? So what we need to do right now, we have modern suppression. You see what they got going on in Tennessee. You see what's going on in Tennessee. They're now, again, certainly back to the beginning, making the black vote only count for so much. Okay, so here we have a cycle. Black progress, white backlash, we restructure systems, we resist, and the cycle continues. Black progress, white backlash. We had the first African American president in 2008. Now look at us. Because they just couldn't, we had a black president? Oh my God. They're eating themselves alive to try to make this make sense, because they are so saturated in hatred. And I want you to understand, when I say they, obviously I'm not talking about all white people, obviously. But there are a lot of white people who drank the Kool-Aid. There are a lot of white people who depend on this white supremacy ideology, because that is how they identify themselves. That is their basis of identity, is that in this society, white is good, and anything less than white is bad. That will destroy the psyche for those who are oppressed by it and those who use it. You understand? Because you have these people who, again, Obama did not make sense to them, because inherently we as white, we're better. We obviously we are like, but then when you see that is not real. It's not real. It's all a created fantasy in your head that somehow you are better. We are all human beings. We all have souls. We all have consciences. What happens when you live in a society that is telling you that your skin color inherently makes you better? And then let's say you don't necessarily live up to these things. That defeats the psyche. There are so many young white men out here depressed. I wonder why that is. And obviously every group has their reasonings. Every person has their reasonings, right? Because we're all individuals, so there's not one truth. But we have to consider, again, what we are participating in. Who is truly benefiting from this? The modern suppression right now for Black people is coded language. So Black on Black crime, reducing our polling places, Um, when they say being tough on crime, or the low impoverished, all of this is coded language, right? Um, and it's not only suppression through coded language, but through our barriers, through structural barriers as well. So you have the prison gerrymandering, like prisons actually getting paid more for how many people they imprison. Hello? Felony disenfranchisement? Look this stuff up. I'm not going to research. I've already done my research. I want you all to do your own research so you know. Know the world that you're living in. Know what you're participating in. Do not allow your experience to dictate your reality. And I know it's easier said than done. It's very easy to look around you and be like, well, this is what it is. No, you have a choice. You always have a choice. Always. And that's what hatred and evil wants you to forget, your choice. And hatred and evil is not conducive to just one group of people. Again, it is those who benefit from us. We have a lot of people who look like us, but ain't like us at all. They are not like us. They have drank the Kool-Aid. Okay? There are plenty of those like that. So be aware. So Black people, Black men, Black women, start having hard conversations about toxic femininity, toxic masculinity, about how religion affects our relationships with each other. Go to therapy if you had a shitty childhood. If your parents were not parenting the way that they should have, go to therapy. Don't sit up there and accept this as your life. Change your life. Okay? You have the power to decide your life. Do not forget that. We are all born here for a purpose. Period. Either to be a good example or a bad example for yourself and the people around you. I love you all. Like, comment, share, and subscribe if you feel the message. I really want to get the message out here to people. We can change this world. All races, all sexes, all sexualities, we can change the world that we live in. We can. But we have to change ourselves first.